What is up, Internet? Today we're going to talk about what I think might be the perfect tire dimension for the rear of the 2022 Hayabusa. All right, let's talk about these dimension numbers real quick and why I went with the 255, why I decided to give it a try. Stock, again, is 190/50. I went with 255. Let's talk about that first number, 200. What does that mean? That basically means the tire is 200 millimeters wide. That's 10 millimeters wider than the stock 190/50 that comes with the 2022 Hayabusa. I personally like that. I think aesthetically it's more pleasing. The Busa's got a big ass. It really does. It's just super wide, and the 190 just doesn't quite look like it fills the back of the bike, almost like it doesn't belong. So that extra 10 millimeters aesthetically looks better, kind of just fills the back of the bike a little bit better. So aesthetically, I just think it's a better looking tire, but aesthetics is one thing. Let's talk about the second number, 55, right? So again, stock is 190/50. This is at 255. 55 stands for the profile, the sidewall here. It's actually a percentage of the first number. It's not a direct measurement, right? So 55 or 0.55 times 200 is 110, which makes sense because 50% of 200 would be 100. So we're dealing with 55. 55% is 110. Who says I'm not good at math? So we got 110 for the second number, and the stock one is 190/50, so 50% of 190, I think 95. That makes sense, right? So 95 to 110, we're talking about a difference of 15 millimeters, but you've also got to remember you've got a top and a bottom, so you got to multiply that by 2. So we're looking at an overall difference in height of 50 of 30 millimeters. So this tire should be 10 millimeters wider and about 30 millimeters taller than the stock 190/50 tire. Okay, we talked about how the wider tire aesthetically fills the wide ass booty of the Hayabusa a little bit better. And we talked about the dimensions. We know now we've got not just a 10 millimeter wider tire, but approximately a 30 millimeter taller tire. And your next question should be, how does that affect the Hayabusa? And in general, how does that affect any motorcycle? Well, it's really, really simple. So anytime you raise the rear of the bike, you lower the front of the bike is going to steer quicker. It's going to feel like it just tips in with less counter steering effort, less body English. It should feel like it falls into the turns a little bit easier than it did before. And that should go for any two-wheeled vehicle. It doesn't matter if it's my motocross bike, doesn't matter if it's this Hayabusa or my ZX-10, they should all behave in a similar fashion. You lower the front, you raise the rear, the bike's going to steer quicker. It's going to feel like it steers quicker. That is one area that I complained about when I initially started riding this bike through some curves. Anytime you're leaned over to the left, you're on the shoulder of the tire, or you're a racetrack hero guy and you're on the edge of the tire, whatever the case may be, if you need to not just stand the bike up as you exit a turn, but you need to stand up and switch over to the other side with basically no straightaway in between. You're just going from one direction right all the way over to the other direction. That was one area where I did actually feel the longer wheelbase, the heavier, bigger motorcycle. I think if you are upright, you're on top of the tire and you need to bend in, Busa can carve up some corners, man. This bike is very capable despite what some people will say as far as the weight and the wheelbase, blah, blah, blah. Bike can corner and it feels great in the corner, but there is a little bit of a lag per se. I think lag is kind of the best way I can describe it. Going from leaned over in one direction to directly leaned over in the other direction. The bike, you definitely can feel the weight and wheelbase of the motorcycle. So that's why I went with the 255. Thought, hey, this should raise up the rear a little bit. That should make it feel like it's changing directions a little bit quicker. And let's just go with that. I didn't touch the front end. I didn't pull the fork tubes up and lower the front at all. Let's make one change at a time and just see how it feels. And I think with that, man, it's about time to go for a ride. This next few miles of road is absolutely amazing. We got our Michelin Power 5s, our 255 ZR17s, and we're just gonna go for a little scoot down this road through these curves and see how the Busa feels. God damn, where are all these cars coming from? That was a good spot right there, man. Just swap right over to the other side, super fast. Right here, switching directions. Again, direction changes, left to right, left, right. Caught up to the cars that we let go a long time ago. My personal opinion is, especially that last set where it was literally left, right, we changed directions a lot, very quickly. I mean, we went from leaning to the left to leaning to the right. There was no straightaway in between. That felt spectacular, man. That was the bike, as big as this thing is, with the long wheelbase, it changes directions quite easily at these lower speeds. Okay, this is a very tight, slower section of road. So I think through that whole section I was probably like second gear. As you can see, the speed limit is 35. But the bike felt amazing back there. It really did. And for me, switching back to the left and the right and the left and the right, with absolutely no straightaway in between all those turns, to me, I can notice a difference from changing directions from left to right or right to left in either way. And you know, obviously that makes sense. It should feel fairly symmetrical, and it does, and it's freaking awesome. And I'm in love with this tire. Let me live with the tire. I love this tire. It does, I think, it does help the directional change from left to right. It certainly makes the bike feel pretty damn nimble when you consider the largeness of the Busa. It's more than capable. More than capable. That's it, man. I'm gonna wrap this up. You don't need to see me ride home. It's gonna be boring. So we'll call the video here. You know, if you're wondering what I think about the Michelin Power 5, just in general, I'll probably do a review video of that later in the future. I think I've got, I don't know, maybe 1,500 miles on it. I did one road trip. I'll put the playlist up there. I won't talk about it. It's in the right hand corner somewhere. And don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. Now, obviously, if you're getting crazy, you may exceed what the wheel is made to support, but 5 to 10 millimeters in any direction, don't be afraid to like experiment with shit, you know? I think aesthetically it fits the back of the Busa a little bit better. Riding that small quick section of left right with like no break in between one turn to the next. I mean, you're literally leaned over in one direction and then switching over to the other. That felt great with this tire. What's up, man? I really like this tire. I'm a fan from pretty much every perspective. Now, if you're wondering what I think about the Michelin Power 5 in general, I'll probably make another video for that at a future time. I don't know when, but I want to get a little bit more time on the tire before I share my opinion with the internet. So, big fan of the 255. I recommend giving it a try. I recommend not being afraid to experiment a little bit. Obviously,
every wheel is going to have a range of tire sizes it supports, and if you start going beyond that, you're going to need a different wheel. But this is not the case for the 255. It fits perfectly fine on the stock wheel. It's not a huge adjustment. I'm gonna call the video here. You don't need to see me ride all the way home. It's gonna be kind of boring. So you know what to do. Keep the rubber side down. We'll see you guys in the next one. Do I still have my camera? Hell yeah, still got my camera. Woo! I forgot about it for a second. Oh shoot, I don't even have the rubber thingamabob in there. Goodness gracious. I need to, well, we'll get off the bike. All right, I'm done yapping. See you guys. Bye.